disease reversal?
Yeah.
Age disease reversal. See, I think some of these things that you do at a broad level. Let's say, whether it's sleep or better nutrition. I think some of these are reversal at a broad level, right? So I think these are more system level things that you do to. I think reversing just through one specific intervention, a particular disease may or may not work. I think a holistic, targeted approach on multiple dimensions is, I think, what works.
Okay, fleeting thought to our audience of wannabe entrepreneurs, one idea each. You've invested in a lot of health companies. One thing somebody can start, should start?
No, I think more than the one thing someone should start, it is maybe starting with the right expectation. Because
they don't want to hear we need to have the right expectations.
No, right expectations as in the sense you can't build $1 billion business in this.
No. I'm not saying $1 billion. Make money business.
Yeah, make money. I think the food. I am completely like we said before. I'm completely sold to the idea that someone's gonna put food on the table that cannot be questioned. Like right from your staples to vegetables to fruits to everything, right? As in to say that this is the food you're eating, this is the quality from where it was sourced, this is all the pesticides that's there. I mean, and provided clean and fresh. And I'm sold to the idea and potentially looking to invest in as many of them as possible.
Prashant?
I think medicine is going to change at a very transformative level with all the things that we spoke about, right? So delivering it in a new way is the big opportunity. It's not going to be done by the current medical establishment because they are doing well in what they're doing. They're very profitable in what they're doing, and they don't have a reason to change. And if this is going to be disrupted, it's going to be disrupted by a new set of companies. It's not just Biopeak. There'll be many such companies who will find, this whole idea of more systemic, data-driven, leveraging AI, leveraging a more comprehensive approach. I think you'll see a new generation of clinics, hospitals, and I think people will see, because the idea of preventive care was always there. So you'll ask me, what is so great? Preventive care, everybody's talking about, but I think there was no data. So just to tell people, okay, eat well, sleep well, just telling them more of that is not going to help. Can you tell them how can you take action and how can you be specific so that you see change in a reasonable amount of time and you're able to manage them longitudinally and not in an episodic manner, right? So there is a business model change, there's an approach change, so there's like a huge opportunity, and I think this is like a 25-year opportunity that I see.
Seems?
Mental health. I mean, a lot of people are doing, I don't think, there is a good place where where people understand what other people are going through. And I think, that's something, help is needed there.
I agree. Some people on this table also need
it. So in future, if India has to make any strides in the medical realm, if it wants to become relevant in healthcare AI, it will need its own data sets. Today, India does not have quality data sets, and somebody will have to figure out. Either they create their own personalized labs, work with wearable companies like us, or work with hospitals. But we'll need trainable data sets. Without trainable data sets, our health AI is going to be as good as nothing. Like we'll rely on Western data sets, which don't mean nothing, because like Prashant was mentioning, the universal BMI doesn't work on Indian population. We have so many Indians who are like BMI is 25, but they have a tummy, so higher visceral fat, right? So it doesn't work. So you need a lot of data sets.
Okay, I think that's it. Thank you guys
Great.
for doing this.
Awesome. Thanks.
Cheers. Bye.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Oh my God, this
Long,
thing
right?
was right here.
Okay. Hi, Bryan. I'm Seema.
Nice to meet you.
I guess so. You all have covered about longevity when it comes to men. So my question is, how does it factor when it comes to women from women's perspective? How longevity, factors in when it is regarding women's reproductive health? Or also the bigger question is, how does it factor in menopause?
Yeah.
Do you have any insights on that?
Yeah. What do you do for your health today? Like, let's start with your sleep. How is your sleep?
My sleep?
Yeah.
I would say it's great.
Great. Okay, cool. Do you measure it?
I do.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, great. So, like, what's on an average night, how many hours of sleep do you get?
Between 8 to 9.
Okay, great. And of deep and of REM?
REM sleep, I think around 2 hours.
Yeah. And deep?
Deep is an hour maybe.
Okay. And then do you get up? Do you find yourself waking up at night?
I do.
Yeah. Once, twice, 3 times?
2, 3 times.
Yeah. Is it just because you're thinking about things, or?
No, it's just,
You just wake up?
I just wake up.
Yeah. Okay. So you're doing pretty well in sleep. How about diet? How are you doing on nutrition?
Pretty good, I would say.
Yeah. Okay. What does your diet consist of mostly?
1,500 calories, protein, healthy carbs, healthy fats. Yeah.
Okay. So do you eat much like junk food or
No.
processed food? Okay. So good.
No.
What about exercise?
I get about an hour
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah. So what do you do for exercise?
Weight training, there is yoga, cardio,
Yeah.
combination of.
Yeah. Great. So you're doing really well in the primary areas of sleep, diet, exercise. Good job.
Thank you.
That's very rare. Have you done any testing? Like, have you had blood draws, or have you done MRIs, or?
Blood draws, yes. A lot of scans, but no MRIs.
Okay. And the blood draws, when was your most recent blood draw?
Sorry?
When was your most recent blood draw?
2 weeks back.
Okay, great. So you're like an ideal. Yeah, this is like amazing. Okay. And did you discover anything that was an anomaly, anything that was off?
At present, thyroid levels, I would say.
Iodine levels?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
they're not right. And lipid profile is not great either.
So some cholesterol markers were a little off.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm thinking maybe it's the vacation food that I had.
Oh, okay. Okay. So like it wasn't the whole story in the diet. Okay. There's more going on. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This is usually how it goes, right? Like, yeah. So what happened on this vacation?
Well, good food.
Yeah.
Good wine.
Yeah. 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 What kind of food?
What kind of food? I don't know, whatever Michelin star restaurants cook.
Yeah. 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 And the night you had the food and you had the alcohol, how was your sleep?
You know what? Sleep was still good.
Yeah.
I didn't wake up the way I usually do. Yeah.
Do you know what the REM and deep were?
I know.
Yeah.
I didn't really measure them.
Okay. And so, did you exercise the next day?
Yes.
Okay.
Every day.
Okay, good. Cool. So yeah, you're doing really well on like the core 3 things and also testing. And so you're checking the box on the most important things and you haven't found any major deficiencies. Is that right?
Yeah.
So as a female, you're doing all the right basics. That's a really great thing. And that's uncommon for a lot of people. Have you tested yourself for contaminants like heavy metals or microplastics?
No.
So this is one area where you could potentially improve. So a recent study showed that women with high levels of BPA produced substantially fewer eggs in ovulation. That contaminants reduces the body's production of eggs. And so even when you're doing all the right things with sleep and diet, exercise, there are things in the outside world that can come in, like contaminants in food, contaminants in the air, that can negatively affect your fertility, and negatively affect eggs that are produced, negatively affect your hormones. And so there is some opportunity on the measurement side of things that you can try to identify what, like we have a new microplastics test, which we've put out. You prick your finger, you get a measurement, and those levels help inform like what is your level of contamination. So like the simple thing is like in these foods, the question would be, what is the level of microplastics in the food? They're there, we just don't know how much. So we test it. And so a lot of times I do this Q&A with you because a lot of times when you talk about female health and we talk about fertility and menopause, most people want there to be a silver bullet, like, do this, don't do that. It's oftentimes not as clean as that. Usually it's more nuanced and complex. Yeah. And so I'd say the first thing that's relevant for you as a female is to continue to do the basics, sleep, diet, exercise, which you're doing really well, basic testing, and you can now consider to do more advanced testing to find potential areas of improvement. That'd be like number one. How do you feel about that?
She wants me to ask a question.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Well, if men live forever and women can't give birth beyond 35, what happens to the societal structure?
Yeah. So, I think that I'm personally very excited about the future of health. And specifically, I think that AI may produce in the next 5 years, decades, if not a century worth of progress. And in those discoveries may be something about a woman's time period of fertility. I think, women produce a certain number of eggs over a certain duration of time, and that fertility window closes. And so it's not something that we've solved today, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that we could either extend that or somehow modify that. But I think it's one of the coolest areas of research of health and wellness, is because I agree with you. It's a challenging circumstance that women have this very small window of time, and once it passes, it's gone. And men, have a much longer. Exactly. So I agree with you. So I think it's a really great area of interest. And so I guess I was asking you these questions because as a female, what you're trying to do is you're trying to slow your speed of aging down as much as possible. Like you want your body to be fertile as long as possible. And then as you go into menopause, you want your body to be in the optimal conditions. And so that's why I focus on the basics, because oftentimes people think there's so many differences between men and women, but actually there's so many more things we have in common, that we all benefit from sleep, we all benefit from exercise, we all benefit from nutrition. And then you can dial in specifics like, how are your hormone levels? Like what are the deficiencies you're in? What are your contaminants? So it's the same process as men. You're just simply saying, what is an ideal level for a given thing? How do you measure it? And then how do you fix it? And so I like to think about that question because, because it really makes it concrete, right? And there's a lot of known science on like how to maintain optimal levels for women. But menopause is that's just a very complicated, challenging thing, just like the fertility window. So sadly, there's not a clean answer there. It's just we have to work on it.
One last question.
Yes.
I heard you mention that sexual activity overall has gone down. How, to reach that optimal sexual...
Yeah. Yeah.
For all the ages.
Yeah. So did you know that every night when you sleep, you go through several arousal cycles where,
No, I didn't.
So when men sleep, they'll typically have between 3 and 5 erections. And each erection lasts, for a certain duration of time. And so, for example, an average 18-year-old would have nighttime erections on the order of 2 hours and 30 minutes, like thereabouts.
Oh.
Yeah. And so that marker is a representation of sexual, physiological, and cardiovascular function. Now, women have the same arousal cycles as men. So the clitoris engorges in the same way the penis does through these various cycles through sleep patterns. And just like men wake up with morning boners, women wake up with morning woods. I'm sorry, the morning bean. And so it's the same cycle. And so, again, the similarity between men and women. And so this is why your sleep and diet and exercise are so important, is because when you're going through these arousal cycles, your sexual function is robust. And so that would give you a good starting point to be potentially sexually active and to want to engage in sexual intercourse. And so it comes back to the basics every time. Like you do the things that build a foundation of health, and then you jump to measurement to say, are there any deficiencies you can address? And then you try to fix those. And then you can say, can I optimize further? So for example, I'll give you one optimization. Okay, so I measured my nighttime erections. There's a little device you put on the penis, and it measures the engorgement of the penis and like the number of times and the strength of it. And so my baseline measurement was 2 hours and 12 minutes. And then I did 2 therapies to increase my nighttime erections. One was focused shockwave therapy. So it uses acoustic waves. It feels like an electric shock, but you're basically like shocking the penis with acoustic waves. A little painful.
Okay.
But there's evidence to show it works. People also use it for vaginal rejuvenation. So in the same way where this focused shockwave therapy can be used to take someone who has ED, erectile dysfunction, and bring them back to normal. It can also be used like someone like myself who had proper sexual function and enhance it. And so if you're trying to say you have the basics solved and now you want to enhance your sexual function, there are therapies, for example, like focused shockwave therapy, which can enhance the vagina and its overall health. So once you get into the world of this literature, there's this whole world of things you could trial, of things you can do to actually boost your sexual function that are based on scientific evidence.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much.
What do you think about that?
Great.
What do you?
Well,
go ahead.
Yeah, maybe we all are going to try that.
Yeah, I think it might be an interesting experience.
I mean, why not?
Yeah.
So I guess it's sleep time for you.
Yeah. So let me ask you, what are you walking away from this conversation? What did you hear in this conversation?
Longevity is a choice, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm ready to give up on certain things, be disciplined about certain things, then it's for those people. But if you're not ready to give up on certain things, then maybe it's not so. I mean, I don't think it's for everyone.
Yeah.
Even if we had a choice to, participate in it. But
yeah. Cool. And I would say the summary for yourself and others is the basics of health and wellness, sleep, diet, and exercise have the biggest gains of all things. The next biggest gain is finding deficiencies through blood tests, imaging, and contaminants. And then the third thing is trying to do things to enhance. But I wanted to try to change the frame of the conversation because I know that women, they think about fertility specifically and they think about menopause, for example.
Yeah, absolutely.
These 2 buckets. But oftentimes it really misses the point that they get so much attention that we then forget these basics and we forget the value of measurement. And so that's why I like the similarities that males and females have is so much of the same process, the same basics, the same measurement, the same evidence. And if we all go through that process, like we're going to hopefully come up with good outcomes. But hopefully that's helpful for everybody. Whereas instead of specific recommendations for given things, we just go through the same scientific process and we can produce healthy outcomes where you don't really need to choose longevity. You're just choosing health. Like you're choosing happiness, you're choosing vibrancy, you're choosing good relationships, you're choosing like to be a certain way.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And is there any other confessions? Like, if so, yeah.